Greetings, my name is Thomas Woodyard. I'm a recipient of the 2025 Marion Hubert Learning Through Listening Scholarship. I wanted to make this video to discuss what my life was like before and after I started using Learning Ally. Admittedly, I don't quite know what life was like before I started using Learning Ally, seeing as to how I was in 3rd grade at the time, yet I can say that the impetus for me to start using Learning Ally stemmed from the fact that we had a vast array of books to get through by the end of the school term, and given my vision impairment and my quite slow reading speed, it made it quite a challenge for me to even accomplish. And so through utilizing Learning Ally's human read audiobooks, I was able to keep pace with, and in some cases excel past, my sighted peers, and I was able to also make use of how Learning Ally has the ability to speed up and slow down certain passages in their books, so I was able to get the most out of a potentially tricky reading passage or two. And this was able to culminate in me achieving a couple of academic honors in 9th and 11th grade for English and for United States Advanced Placement United States History. And I was subsequently able to keep using Learning Ally's as offerings throughout my master's degree at Kennesaw State University, where I was named the Outstanding Scholar. So I would like to take this opportunity to once again thank Learning Ally for their immense support and for making a way for me to be as successful as I can be in my studies, given that I have the right infrastructure in place in order for me to excel.
How are you doing academically now with Learning Ally? Is there any change that you noticed?
Yeah, my grades are going up because I'm learning new words, and I'm learning how to pronounce them because of Learning Ally saying them over and over. I'm learning how to pronounce new words. That's how it changed my life.
How do you feel about that?
I feel great. I feel like Reading Ally is like the best that ever happened to me.
How did you feel before Learning Ally about school, and how do you feel after Learning Ally with school?
Before, I just gave up. I give up. Now with the Reading Ally, I try doing more and more books as I can, as I want to.
How do you feel about going to school before Learning Ally and after Learning Ally?
Before the school, I'm like, no, I don't want to. It's super hard. But then with Reading Ally, I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I better do it now, because now I can just read personally without nobody just like saying you skipped over a word. I can just read and read without no skipping over a word. But with Learning Ally, you could just find that yellow mark and then it's right there and you can read it. It's that simple. I mean, it changed a lot in my life. Since day one, I've been learning a lot of new words. So far, it's pretty simple. But once you get into the harder books, you might think, oh, that's challenging. But don't worry, with Reading Ally, nothing is impossible.
Hi, Juja Horvath, and I'm really appreciative of the scholarship. And a little bit about my life before Learning Ally. I remember distinctly growing up in elementary school, we had to do these reading exams orally, and like there were certain chunks out of the day you'd have your appointment with your teacher, and everybody had their appointment. And I just remember that at the end of these reading comprehension exams, I got held back, or not held back, but my teacher called me to stay after school one day, and all of my friends got to go home and got to go to A+, and got to do the things I would usually go to school or go to practice after school. And I had to sit in the classroom and retake it because I scored so much lower than all the other kids. And this is one of the times when I realized I was struggling growing up, and that experience really affected me emotionally. And I definitely didn't feel smart, and I felt below all my other classmates. Everyone else got to go home and everyone else got to grow up, and I just had this thing on my shoulders that I wasn't smart enough. I felt like I was falling behind. And then going into middle school, when I started having to read novels for class assignments, I really noticed it even more because every other student would take the 1 to 2 weeks to read the book and then they would be fine. For me, it would take 4 weeks. I would take a whole month to read the book and we'd be on the next book by the time I had just finished, and I wouldn't be able to go through all of my assignments thoroughly because I was falling behind. And in middle school, when I got access to Learning Ally, it was a game changer. My grades instantly increased. I didn't feel as stressed at school, and I just am so appreciative for the system and the opportunity for the scholarship and just everything that Learning Ally has done for me over the years. So thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Erica Frischberg, and I started using Learning Ally in the 9th grade. But before that, I was diagnosed with dyslexia in 2nd grade. And ever since from 2nd grade to 9th grade, I was lucky enough to have my mother to read to me. But in 9th grade, the books became more complicated, and I had to read books like Frankenstein. So I was like, hey Mom, I need to find something else to help me read this, because the way you're reading it wasn't working. So I started searching for so many different options until my guidance counselor showed me a thing called Learning Ally, which in Florida, it is free to any students that classify as a struggling reader. And I took it to my advantage and I soared with it. I've been using it now ever since my 9th grade to now I'm a senior, and I've used it in all my English classes, I've used it in random classes, and I've even used it to start a club called Hearing for a Change. That is now an organization that goes to elementary schools to help struggling readers in the Palm Beach County area by using Learning Ally as an auditory book system to listen to the audiobooks and help build the vocabulary, comprehension, and overall love for books, just like Learning Ally did for me.
Hi, my name is Casey Gruen, and ever since I was a little kid, I have struggled with dyslexia. In 1st and 2nd grade, my reading skills were not good, so my parents got me checked out to see if I needed reading glasses. They got me the reading glasses, but when those didn't help my reading, they knew it was something else. With my school, I was in and out of tutoring sessions, and this affected my confidence. I was unsure of where I fit in, I didn't have a diagnosis, I was just confused on why I wasn't reading the same as my peers. And then in 5th grade, I finally got diagnosed with dyslexia. This diagnosis did help me because it made me realize that I wasn't dumb or lazy, I was just dyslexic. In middle school, I hoped that I would get accommodations for my dyslexia, but this did not happen. In 7th and 8th grade, COVID hit, and I was at an all-time low with my confidence. I struggled to turn on my camera and talk to my teachers and turn in basic assignments for school. I ended up scrolling online a lot and found this thing called Book Talk, which is just a community of people online talking about just books and common series that people have read, like the Percy Jackson series and Harry Potter. As a kid, I was never allowed to read these books because they were always too high of a range for me to read. So with Learning Ally, I decided to read them, and I loved them. I read every single book in the series, and I ended up joining these conversations online and truly appreciating the value of books and other things, and this brought a new confidence to my life. I started off high school in a normal English class, and I used Learning Ally to help me get through the books in class. Then, I was doing so well my sophomore year, I moved up to Honors English. I continued to use Learning Ally to read all the books like Scarlet Letter, 1984, and To Kill a Mockingbird. This helped me to participate in discussions and helped me to better comprehend the books. I moved up again to AP Literature and Composition, which is a college level class, and I continued to use Learning Ally for all the books we read, and it continued to help me in the discussions. I ended up getting a 4, which is equivalent to an A- or a B+ in a college level course. I never thought I was going to be able to take English at a college level rigor, but with Learning Ally, I was able to do it and I was able to succeed. Learning Ally not only helped me in my English, but it helped me with my confidence all throughout my academic life. I now know that I am able to take college level courses and succeed. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ben, and I love Learning Ally. I've been using Learning Ally for 12 years now, and before I used Learning Ally, I was always smart, but holding books was hard for me, and I needed more high-level books. After using Learning Ally, I'm able to read on a more appropriate level, and that's how Learning Ally helped